A surprise engagement. The good thing about buying a ring for a man is the price. For a few $100s, you can find a lovely band, while a woman's ring can cost thousands. "I'll take that one," I said, pointing to a silver band with an intricate design that twisted around it. The saleswoman beamed as she carefully retrieved the ring from the display case. "Great choice. Would you like to see the matching women's band?" I forced my voice to remain neutral and smiled politely. "No thanks. I'll bring her to pick out a ring another time." The saleswoman took my reply at face value, and I left the store with Jake's ring tucked safely in my jacket pocket. Jake and I had been together for 3 years, officially a couple for 2, and had lived together for 1. Last year, he had given me an anniversary gift that changed everything. He asked me to move in with him. This year, I was determined to surprise him with a proposal. I imagined a cozy dinner at home, followed by a heartfelt moment where I would present him with the ring. Jake, it turned out, had other ideas. "Dale and Aaron are taking us out to dinner tonight." Jake greeted me at the door, holding up 5 different colored ties. "Which one do you like?" "I'm going to wear my navy blazer and a white dress shirt." I stared at him for a moment, my heart dropping as my perfect anniversary plan began to unravel in my mind. "I thought we agreed to spend the night alone." "I know, Stephen, but what could I do? They insisted on taking us out for our anniversary as a gift." "It would have been rude to decline," he explained, looking genuinely apologetic. Suppressing my disappointment, I grabbed a maroon, gray, and navy striped tie from the collection. "You're right. Wear this one, and I'll go for my gray jacket." He nodded, smiling, before heading off to our room. Alone, I pulled out the small ring box from my pocket inside. Proposing in a restaurant was out of the question now. I would need to wait until we got back home. While Jake was in the shower, I slipped the ring under my pillow, hoping for a moment later in the evening. The restaurant turned out to be charming, an Italian place, Jake's favorite, family-owned, which added a lovely personal touch. Throughout the meal, I kept my thoughts to myself, only engaging in conversation when necessary, while Jake seemed to thoroughly enjoy every moment. He ordered a hearty pasta dish, paired it with wine, and even indulged in multiple desserts, cleaning his plate rapidly. When he finally admitted he was feeling unwell, it was no surprise. Fortunately, the restaurant was just 3 blocks from home, and Jake made it to our bathroom just in time. I quickly prepared the bed for him, knowing that I couldn't handle watching him be sick. "That was awful," he moaned as he crawled into bed. "Oh man." "It's okay, hun," I reassured him, lightly stripping him down to his briefs and tucking him in. "You simply overdid it a bit. Try to relax. I'll make you some tea and toast." With watery eyes, he glanced at me. "I'm sorry, Stephen. You were right, we should have celebrated our anniversary quietly at home. Now I feel like I ruined it." Sitting beside him, my gaze darted over to where I'd hidden the ring. "No, you didn't." "It's not over yet," I promised, retrieving the ring box and handing it to him. His eyes widened as he opened it, and I watched his expression shift from confusion to astonishment. "Oh my God, this is..." He lifted the silver ring, tracing the Celtic design with his fingers, and a wave of disbelief washed over his face. "I love you, Stephen. Will you marry me?" "Yes," he replied, laughter breaking through as he jumped up to embrace me in excitement. In a moment of sheer jubilation, he dashed from the bed, running to the bathroom to be sick again. Holding his hair back, I murmured comforting words. "I love you too, hun. For better and for worse, I'll be here for you even if it means holding your hair back while you're over the toilet." Between dry heaves, he managed a weak smile before the worst passed. When he returned from the bathroom, I was waiting with the ring in hand, down on one knee. Laughing in disbelief, he offered me his left hand, and I slipped the ring onto his finger, feeling relieved when it fit perfectly. "I guess I need to get one now," he said, admiring the ring. "We'll also need to set a date, pick a location, and make a guest list." "Hun," I replied, trying to get comfortable after the whirlwind of events, "we're not getting married next week. We have plenty of time to decide everything." "Are you kidding? We need to plan everything." Jake grabbed a pen and pad from our desk. "The moment I tell Dale, he'll want to throw an engagement party. He loves celebrations just as much as I do. We have to figure out our budget, choose a date, pick a venue, start a registry. I tuned him out, focusing on getting ready for bed. It was clear he wouldn't let this go until he had worked it out. When I returned to the bedroom with a cup of chamomile tea and some crackers, I found him settled in bed, already busy with his phone. "Happy anniversary, hun," I said, hoping to refocus on us for a moment. "Happy anniversary, my soon-to-be husband," he replied, planting a kiss on my forehead. That word, husband, brought a smile to my face as I settled beside him, overwhelmed with joy. With thoughts of our future spinning in my head, I wrapped myself up in that warm feeling and drifted off to sleep, eager for whatever tomorrow would bring. The next few weeks flew by in a whirlwind of excitement and planning. Jake threw himself into wedding preparations with the kind of fervor normally reserved for game day, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of joy and anxiety as he darted around the apartment, his excitement infectious but daunting. "Okay, so we need to figure out our colors," Jake announced one evening as he unfurled an array of color swatches on the dining table. "I'm thinking navy and gold. Classic but with a pop." I glanced at the fabric remnants he held up and smiled at the way his eyes lit up. "Navy and gold sounds great, but what if we added a soft gray as well? It might balance everything nicely." Jake paused, nodding as he absorbed the idea. "You're right. That could add just the right touch." He quickly added a gray swatch to the mix. "And we can play with different textures too." "Textures?" I asked, bemused by how seriously he took this. "Absolutely. Different fabrics can bring life to the decorations. Maybe silk for the table runners and linen for the napkins." He was on a roll. As I watched him speak, full of enthusiasm, I felt my heart swell. I had never seen him so passionate about anything, and it was thrilling to know that we were doing this together. Each time he turned to me with an eager question or sought my opinion, I felt reassured that we were on this journey as a true partnership. Days turned into weeks, and one night, as we lay in bed after a long day of coordinating with vendors and inviting friends, Jake turned to me, his expression suddenly serious. "Steven, can I ask you something?" "Of course, hun." "Anything," I replied. "What kind of wedding are you picturing? I mean, do you want something huge and extravagant, or something more intimate?" I pondered for a moment. "Honestly, I'd prefer a small, intimate affair with close friends and family. Just our favorite people, good food, and a lot of laughter." Jake's eyes twinkled at my answer. "Me too. I want to be surrounded by people we love, not a big crowd of strangers." He took a deep breath, his thoughts turning more serious. "I've been thinking, do you want to write our vows together? Like, to share with each other before the ceremony?" The idea hit me with a wave of warmth. "I'd love that. It'll make them more personal." "Great," he exclaimed, already considering the logistics. "Let's set aside some time each week to draft them. I mean, we're building this life together, right? We might as well start with our promises." The thought of crafting those vows made me feel a giddy anticipation, but as with all wedding planning, it also carried a weight of responsibility. Thankfully, we found a rhythm and made a habit of Saturday afternoons spent brainstorming vows over coffee and pastries at our favorite cafe, each agreement followed by laughter and plenty of playful banter. As the wedding day approached, our weekend schedules became increasingly packed. It was during one of those lively Saturday outings that Jake said something that struck me deeply. "Steven," he began, a seriousness underlying his jovial tone as we settled into a booth. "I hope you know how much I appreciated you through all this. I'm so lucky to have you by my side." Touched, I reached across the table to hold his hand. "I feel the same way, Jake. We make a great team." It was right then that a realization hit me just how prominent my feelings for him had grown over the years. The love we shared radiated not just in the romantic aspects, but in our friendship, our collaboration, and the way he continually inspired and challenged me to be better. "Can you believe it's almost here?" I said, changing the subject to something lighter, still in that glowing moment. "It feels surreal." "Oh, I can believe it," he laughed, excitement bubbling in his voice. Just imagine our friends and family, our quirky music choices, and that delicious cake. I can't wait. Eventually, the big day arrived, and the sun shone brightly, illuminating our venue, a picturesque little garden surrounded by blooming flowers and a vine-covered gazebo. I felt a mix of adrenaline and calm wash over me as I adjusted my suit one last time in the mirror. Jake was somewhere near, looking dapper and utterly stunning in his attire, a blend of navy and gold that mirrored the colors we had chosen for the day. Just as I was about to step outside, I took a moment to breathe and collect myself. As I entered the ceremony area, I spotted Jake standing at the altar, his back to me. He trembled with anticipation, and when he turned to face me, his eyes sparkled with joy that took my breath away. Every ounce of nervousness melted away, replaced by profound love and appreciation as our eyes met. The world faded around us, and in that moment, the only thing that mattered was him. As we exchanged vows, my heart flourished with every promise made. The words came easily, fueled by love and sincerity, and I found solace in the knowledge that we were both ready to embrace whatever the future held for us together. With the ceremony officially concluded and the cheers of our friends and family echoing in my ears, we shared smiles that spoke volumes. My heart swelled with pride and excitement. We were embarking on a new journey, one filled with love, laughter, and shared dreams. The rest of the day unfolded organically, filled with laughter, dancing, and heartfelt moments that we would cherish for a lifetime. As we shared our first dance, I couldn't help but think that this was only the beginning of an incredible adventure, one that I was grateful to share with my husband. As we twirled together, caught in our own world amidst the celebration, I could see our future ahead, a bond eternally strengthened, our love flourishing in the days yet to come. The reception was a blur of laughter, heartfelt speeches, and infectious energy. Our friends and family danced under the twinkling fairy lights strung around the garden, and everywhere I looked, I saw smiles. It warmed my heart to see all of them sharing in our joy, celebrating our love. Jake and I took a moment to step away from the crowd, finding a quieter spot under an archway of blooming wisteria. The moon shone brightly above us, casting a silver glow over the garden. We leaned against the railing, looking out at the stars. "Can you believe it? We're actually married," Jake mused, grinning from ear to ear. I chuckled softly, looking over at him. "It feels like a dream, but also like it was always meant to be." He turned to me, his expression shifting from playful to sincere. "You're my everything, Stephen. I've never been happier than I am right now." "I feel the same way," I replied, my heart swelling with affection. "We've built something so incredible together, and it's only the beginning." Jake smiled, lost in thought for a moment. "I can't wait to see where life takes us. Traveling, starting a family, and tackling everything together," I added. "Exactly," he replied, his eyes brightening. "You know, the best part is knowing we'll face it all hand in hand." We stood in comfortable silence, soaking in the beauty of the night. Eventually, we headed back to our celebration, where our friends had transformed the dance floor into a riot of color and sound. We joined them, throwing ourselves into the energy of the evening. The music shifted to a romantic tune, and as if choreographed by fate, we found ourselves pulled toward one another in the midst of the vibrant chaos. It was a moment of connection, a reflection of everything we had become: partners, lovers, and now, husbands. Over the course of the night, we danced, laughed, and enjoyed the company of cherished friends and family. Each toast filled us with warmth and reassurance that we weren't on this journey alone. We had a community rallying behind us, rooting for our happiness. As the night wore on, I caught sight of the cake, a magnificent three-tiered masterpiece adorned with delicate flowers and gold accents that mirrored our color scheme. With a jovial cheer from our guests, we approached the cake for the ceremonial slicing. "Ready?" Jake asked, holding up the knife with a teasing grin. "Ready." I laughed, my heart fluttering with excitement. As we made the first cut together, I couldn't help but think how this was more than just cake. It symbolized the sweet life we would share. We each took a bite and shared it with each other, our laughter echoing as we dodged playful frosting smears. The festivities continued, and as the evening grew late and guests began to leave, Jake and I took a moment to step outside again. We found a cozy corner near the garden where a lovely fire pit crackled gently, casting warmth against the cool night air. "Can you believe it's almost over?" Jake said, brushing his hands over his hair, a slight hint of melancholy in his voice. It feels surreal, but this is just the beginning, I reassured him, weaving my fingers through his. We'll have plenty of moments like this. Jake smiled softly, leaning in closer. You're right. I can't wait for our adventures together. Me neither, hun. We have so much ahead of us, new experiences, memories, and milestones, I said, feeling the weight of all we had yet to embark upon. As our guests said their final goodbyes and we settled into each other's arms, the glow of the fire illuminating our faces, I felt truly content. With a gentle nudge, Jake brought me back to the present moment. Let's promise to make every day as joyful as today. I promise, I affirmed, staring deeply into his eyes. With you, I know that happiness is never far away. Jake leaned in, and as our lips met for a kiss, I felt a rush of warmth flood through me, a promise of what our future would hold. In that simple moment, under the stars and amidst the embers of the fire, I knew we would face anything together. The sun would rise on a new day, filled with its own challenges and triumphs, but we would meet it side by side, stronger together than we could ever be apart. As we wrapped up our evening, I couldn't help but wonder at the adventure ahead. Our story would continue to unfold, rich with laughter, love, and the undeniable bond we shared. Whatever lay ahead, I knew one thing: I was ready. We stood hand in hand, gazing out at the warm glow of the moonlight and the newly formed memories swirling like fireflies in the air around us. Together, we turned our backs to the glimmering wedding celebration, stepping into the night, excited and hopeful for all the tomorrows we would share. That night, sealed with love and promise, marked only the beginning of a beautiful journey, a celebration that would carry on in our hearts forever.